Some cars are born to win. The Ford F3L was not one of them. It was a machine built for breathtaking speed until it exploded in a cloud of smoke and disappointment. Think of it as a firework, brilliant, loud, and gone in seconds, leaving only the smell of failure. The year was 1968. Ford, fresh off beating Ferrari at Le Mans, wanted a new weapon for the 3-litre prototype class. They turned to Alan Mann Racing in Britain. The result? The F3L, or P68. Designed by Len Bailey, it was impossibly low, sleek, and looked fast, even standing still. Underneath it packed the legendary Ford Cosworth DFV V8, Formula One's dominant engine. On paper, it was genius. A featherweight chassis with a heavyweight punch. The F3L was supposed to be a world beater. When it hit the track, it was explosively fast. Even Bruce McLaren and Denny Hulme were stunned. It looked like Ford had built another Ferrari slayer. But there was one problem. The F3L had a terminal allergy to finishing races. Its promise was as brief as it was brilliant. To test a car's limits, you take it to the Nürburgring, the green hell. 14 miles of bumps, trees, and terror. The ultimate test. The F3L arrived with a reputation for speed, but the Nürburgring demanded more stability and reliability. Its wingless body, perfect in a wind tunnel, generated almost no downforce, sometimes even lift. At high speeds, the front end would go light, and drivers found themselves flying, not driving. Over crests, the front wheels lifted, leaving drivers staring at the sky, praying for a safe landing. The F3L was a beautiful disaster, fast but terrifyingly unstable. The Nürburgring exposed its fatal flaw with brutal efficiency. Speed alone wasn't enough. The F3L was dangerously out of its depth. The F3L's instability wasn't just theory, it was deadly. During Nürburgring practice, Chris Irwin crested Flugplatz. The car took off and didn't come down safely. It crashed violently, disintegrating on impact. Irwin survived, but his racing career was over. The car's lightweight construction offered little protection. The wreckage was a grim warning. The F3L's quest for aerodynamic purity had led to disaster. Instead of a redesign, the team made minor tweaks, a small spoiler, some dive planes. It was like patching a sinking ship with duct tape. The fundamental problem, lift, remained. The F3L was still beautiful, still flawed, and now haunted by tragedy. The team pressed on, but the spectre of the crash loomed over every race. The car was too fragile, too unstable, and the world had seen the consequences. The dream was unraveling, but the story wasn't over yet. Even if the F3L stayed on the ground, it was plagued by gremlins. Mechanical failures were constant. If it could brake, it did, usually while leading. The brakes were unreliable, often failing without warning. The electrical system was a nightmare, with the DFV's ignition prone to sudden death. Fuel pumps, alternators, wiring, any could end a race. The Cosworth DFV, brilliant in F1, struggled with endurance racing's demands, shaking the car apart. The F3L was fighting itself as much as the competition and losing. Reliability was its Achilles heel. Despite endless failures, the team never gave up. The F3L's raw speed was a constant temptation. Every practice session it topped the charts. Mechanics worked through the night, hoping this would be the weekend it all held together. The pattern was always the same, sensational in practice, untouchable at the start. For a few laps it looked unbeatable. Then inevitably disaster struck. A snapped half shaft, a broken gearbox, a failed oil line, or dead electrics. The driver would coast into the pits, hopes dashed. The F3L snatched defeat from the jaws of victory time and again. Each race ended in disappointment, but the team kept chasing the dream. The car's promise was always just out of reach. It was a cycle of hope and heartbreak. The F3L was the fastest car that never finished, but hope somehow always returned. If any track suited the F3L, it was the old Spa-Francorchamps, fast, dangerous, and demanding. In May 1968, the team arrived with Jackie Ickx and Brian Redman. In qualifying, X put the F3L on pole by a huge margin, averaging over 150 minutes. Race day, X vanished into the distance, building a massive lead. The car was flawless for the first hour, lap times devastatingly fast, the lead growing. The Porsches couldn't keep up. The F3L was poetry in motion. For a moment, it seemed the beautiful loser would finally win. The team barely dared to breathe as the laps ticked by. The car, the driver, the circuit. Everything was perfect. Victory was within reach. The F3L was about to make history, but fate had other plans. Of course, it wasn't to be. At Spa, an electrical fault ended the F3L's dominant run. Another heartbreak. Ford's patience ran out. The project limped on briefly, but the F3L faded away. Yet it wasn't a total failure. The F3L proved F1 engines could work in sports cars and pushed aerodynamic boundaries. Its flaws forced designers to understand downforce, paving the way for the winged monsters of the 1970s. Cars like the F3L matter, they're magnificent failures that push the sport forward. The F3L never finished a race, but it changed racing forever. Its legacy is not in trophies, but in inspiration. It was a rocket ship that never reached orbit, but it made everyone dream bigger. Sometimes, the most beautiful stories are the ones that end in glorious failure. The F3L's spirit lives on in every ambitious, daring car that followed. And that, in the end, is victory of a different kind.